Bulginaka, do you know that cybercrime is becoming a growing problem in Fiji?
Cybercrime is defined as a crime in which a computer is the object of the crime, such as hacking and spamming.
Cybercrime is also cyberbullying and using fake profiles to cause panic and spreading false news.
If you're involved in this or know anyone who's committing these crimes, report them immediately.
I'm Polly.
And I'm Peter.
We host the Traffic Jam Show on City FM.
From 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday.
Do the right thing.
In this bulletin, drama as the new leader of opposition appointed. New hope for technical college teaching staff. And municipal councils key in driving economic activity.
From the studios of FBC Suva.
New SODELPA leader Viliame Ngavoka has dropped a bombshell in an exclusive interview with FBC News yesterday. Ngavoka says the SODELPA caucus defied President Ratu Epenisa Thakombao's call for them to unite in its support of Ngavoka as opposition leader. Ngavoka says despite this request, 14 members voted for Ratu Naingama Lalambalavu to become opposition leader. Only 5 supported Ngavoka. Edwina reports.
Confirmation tonight that the SODELPA caucus went against the party line on who should be leader of opposition.
There was a request from the president to combine the 2 offices under me, but the caucus has the final say, and they believe that it's the demarcation of the 2 roles should be maintained.
According to Ngavoka, Ratu Naingama will be in charge only for matters within Parliament, but questions have arisen as to what will happen if there is a difference of opinions between the 2.
We will thrash it out. We will talk. I know what he wants. Yeah. If he has any reservations, then there will be dialogue.
It's an unusual scenario, 2 men holding power over 1 party. Ngavoka insists, however, that at the end of the day, he is calling the shots and he will lead SODELPA in the 2022 general election.
I'm the leader of SODELPA. I control the campaign. I'm in charge of everything around in Fiji for the campaign, right? I am leading this party to victory. Okay, and he will be an integral part of that.
FBC News understands influential members of the SODELPA caucus lobbied for Ratu Naingama to become opposition leader, despite the party choice of Viliame Ngavoka.
Ratu Naingama had to take on SODELPA leader Viliame Ngavoka in a caucus vote to choose a replacement for Sitiveni Rambuka. There is also word that Rote Mumukepa played a major role in the process. Edwin Nan reports.
14 elected SODELPA MPs voted for Ratu Naingama, while 5 votes were cast for Viliame Ngavoka.
The parliamentary leader is to be chosen from within caucus, which is the members of parliament that have made it into parliament at the end of an election. So no, there is no specific provision that the party leader automatically becomes the parliamentary leader.
So now SODELPA has 1 leader in parliament via Ratu Naingama and another outside via Viliame Ngavoka. FBC News asked Ratu Naingama on whether this is another sign of division within the party.
Well, you're entitled to your own opinion on that. And I will not delve into that much.
The party has decided to separate the 2 positions. Caucus felt that that's the way to go. And that's the way the vote came out this morning. It is a caucus decision.
Ngavoka pipped Sitiveni Rambuka to become the party leader when the management board met just over a week ago. However, members of SODELPA who sit in parliament have today signaled that they are not bound to toe the party line.
I rely very much on teamwork to take us forward in this important journey, and especially in this important position to portray that we are the alternative government.
Ratu Naingama says he wants SODELPA to be seen as an alternative government in parliament, and any criticism of government initiatives must be constructive.
National Federation Party leader MP Professor Biman Prasad says they had no say in the appointment of Ratu Naingama Lalambalavu as the new opposition leader. Professor Prasad says they will continue to support any appointed MP to take up the role, as their vote will not only make any difference with only 3 NFP members in parliament. Professor Prasad says the new leader is instrumental for the opposition as he possesses a wealth of political experience.
The leadership of the leader of the opposition is decided by the majority party, and that's Sudelpa, and this morning they decided to elect Ratu Naingama as the leader of the opposition. We are a minor party in the opposition, and we have to work with anyone who's appointed as the leader of the opposition, because we don't have a say in who is appointed as the leader of the opposition.
The Fiji National University's Technical College teaching staff who will be made redundant at the end of this year can apply for a position within the Education Ministry. Education Minister Rosie Akbar confirmed this in Parliament this afternoon after comments by Opposition MP Mikaele Lewere earlier today. The Education Minister says all technical college teaching staff were given the opportunity to decide whether to remain with the ministry or join FNU when the technical colleges were being transferred. She says some of the staff opted to remain with the MOE, while most of them chose to join FNU under their terms and conditions. Akbar says the FNU is governed by an independent council which makes decisions on day-to-day operations. The contracts of 247 temporary technical college staff is coming to an end on December 31st.
Those staff that will be made redundant are free to apply for a position within the Ministry of Education, and of course they will be considered for these positions for the year 2021.
The municipal councils are seen as key development partners in driving local economic activities. Local Government Minister Premil Kumar says the Department of Town and Country Planning has focused on reducing outdated and lengthy turnaround times for building, zoning and subdivision approvals. Kumar says obtaining approvals on time increases business confidence and delivers more jobs in the construction industry. She adds the modern and practical legislation will enable the government's economic recovery work.
We now provide a monthly update on the numbers and timelines for major building approvals, which is a key indicator of economic confidence. From January to October 2020, we have approved 30 major development applications at a value of $154.7 million.
The Singatoka Sand Dunes National Park is recording an increase in grass and forest fires due to changing climate. Ranger Saimoni Naruma says the recent abnormal weather conditions is having a massive impact on one of Fiji's national heritage sites. He says climate change is slowly changing the landscape of the sand dunes.
We're starting to see that sometimes when it gets really hot, because most of this sand is the sand material that we have is mostly volcanic sand. So we've noticed that we're having increasing fires too.
Fiji Airways will operate a special Catch the Sunset flight on its Airbus A350 aircraft on December 19th, following the success of its previous special flights around the country. The late afternoon flight will give locals a chance to enjoy a twilight in Fijian skies a week out from Christmas. Guests on board will be treated to full onboard service experience. Chief Executive Andre Villion says they've noted the demand for more special flights on Airbus A350. He says a lot of Fijians, both at home and around the world, are buying seats on their special flights as gifts for their family members, allowing them to experience the joy of flight for the first time. COVID-19 tests conducted on the remaining 10 crew members on board the freighter MV Island Chief remains negative. Health Minister Dr. Iferemi Wangainambete made the confirmation today as 2 members on board the vessel tested positive for coronavirus on Sunday. Dr. Wangainambete says the vessel remains under quarantine in Fiji waters.
They were tested before they left New Zealand. They have been tested. So far they have been found not to have COVID-19. They are sadly, the quarantine area of the bay. 2 cases, border quarantine cases, and they are well.
Up ahead, Western Suburbs fired up for Ulu-Nakau Sevens, and police football ready for Sukuna Bowl today.
Oira na ngone no de nunu enda be singe ni mataka.
Mersusunga da kena loma dina kena mikron.
Sakena ngau na mitaro bina no rabaksa ngai ka wala loma taki na ngone. Dalo bina oya o meliki.
Bulre oya o Samuel Samuli.
Nama kiki rau enda be mataka.
Moniti kena makarombuka.
Ni wai tiri kalima na miniti me ono kina tiri na kaloko. Ena Radio Fiji 1 na ndomo ibiti.
Inau kina na mataka. Dan ramai na singabo.
After a lapse of 5 years, the Western Suburbs Sevens teams are back competing in a local tournament. The side is all fired up to run onto the field this weekend during the Ulu-Nakau Sevens tournament, which kicks off this Friday. Felipe Naikaso has more.
Despite the numerous challenges faced by the Nadi-based Western Suburbs side, they are determined to stamp their mark in Nosori.
It's not be an easy task for the boys because most of these teams have been playing week in, week out, and they know the ins and outs of participating in a sevens tournament in Fiji.
The revival of the team is also aimed at getting the youth engaged in rugby in the hope of catching the eyes of scouts.
See those talents being wasted in the village. It gives me the courage to jump in again and lead the boys.
Sikituru village has been the home for this side this past month as they prepare for their first major tournament.
It's been a month we've been training, and yeah, we're looking forward to Ulu-Nakau 7, and I hope we'll be in a better place for Ulu-Nakau 7.
The Ulu-Nakau Sevens tournament will kick off on Friday at Ratu Thakambo Park in Nosori. Felipe Naikaso, FBC Sports.
The EFC Junior Ascot Shield is a pathway for high school students to secure a spot in the Suva Rugby Union Under-19 team and later the senior team. Since the pandemic earlier this year, all secondary school sporting activities have been cancelled. The introduction of the Junior Ascot Shield is an avenue for these school students to compete with teams in the Central Division. SRU General Secretary Tevita Tuiloa says over the past 4 weeks, teams have shown great improvement from when it first started.
In the first 2 rounds, there's a lot of loose play, but we thank the team coaches and team managers for their good work in molding the young players. I think it's been a long while since they've returned to rugby. And also this week, I just noticed there's a lot of students from the boarding schools.
17-year-old sailor Sophia Morgan is the latest Team Fiji athlete to qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games next year. Like the men's and women's sevens side, the youngster has qualified on merit. Team Fiji chef de mission to Tokyo 2020, Patrick Bauer, says the inclusion of Sophia to the squad is encouraging. Bauer believes Sophia's inclusion in the team is great for the future of the sport of sailing. Last year, Sophia was part of Team Fiji's women's laser class team that won a silver medal at the Pacific Games in Samoa. The Fiji police football side is ready to challenge the Army football side once again in the annual FMF Rise Fiji Rise Sukuna Bowl today. The star-studded police team were victors in the last year's competition, beating Army 3-1, but no, things will not be easy in 2021. On paper, the police football team looks a better side. Police is aware that Army will bring in a physical component of the game. Captain Aquila Matei Suva says they will not take their brothers from the Army for granted.
To play for the Sukuna Bowl with our military brothers, I think one of the biggest challenges that we have already faced is the physicality from them, and especially They are a good team too, just like us, and we are not going out there to underestimate them. I think the boys are prepared very well, and I think their mindset is already tuned up for tomorrow's game against our military brothers.
Looking at the weather, a trough of low pressure lies just to the north of Fiji. The associated cloud and rain affects the northern and eastern parts of Fiji. Meanwhile, a moist easterly wind flow prevails over the group. That is your FBC Morning News. Join us at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. Remember, in times of crisis, you need factual news that you can trust. Stop believing fake news about the COVID-19 on social media. Fight misinformation by getting only the facts about the coronavirus from verified news sources like FBC's TV, radio, and digital media news. FBCnews.com.fj, keeping Fijians connected with the truth.
हमारे खूबसूरत देश फिजी में चाइल्ड अब्यूज की घटनाएं आए दिन बढ़ रही हैं।
क्यों बच्चों का मासूम बचपन अब्यूज का शिकार हो जाता है?
अपने बच्चों की सुरक्षा का खास ख्याल रखें।
उनसे बातचीत करें, उनके दोस्तों के बारे में जानें।
आज के बच्चे देश का भविष्य है। मैं दीप्ति
और मैं मोनिश,
आपके हमसफर। शामिल हो जाए हमारे साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे
5:45 AM से 10 AM तक
रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन पर।